Step Up is a return to the simple gameplay of many games that premiered in the 1990s. Pick the lowest prize and step up your cash winnings. This game was in a lot of trouble early on and things never improved. Here we go with 5 fun facts about Step Up. Number 5. It was the last game to return to the lineup with Drew as host. When Drew took over the show in 2007, a slow rollout of the games occurred. Of all of the games to premiere under Drew, Step Up would be the last one. Oddly enough, he learned this game alongside Poker Game and Joker, both of which would remain retired alongside Bob Barker. Number 4. One minor set change. The red light strip behind the cash prize winnings was changed from red to blue in 2010. Aside from this minor change, the set remained relatively the same. Number 3. It went on hiatus and then was removed from rotation. Before its official retirement, the game went on hiatus from 2008 to 2009. It was then taken out of the rotation again in 2014 before it was officially retired. Step Up was seemingly just doomed from the start. Number 2. It was once won on a technicality. In 2010, the crew had switched to barbecue for another one, but did not change the price to match it. Since the contestant likely lost as the result of this, he was awarded all 4 prizes and the full cash prize anyway. Definitely the right thing to do in this case. And the number 1 fun fact about Step Up, it was retired because of its losing percentage. Simply put, Step Up was not being won. Contestants were walking away with what they could, plus whatever cash they earned. In the end, only a total of 8 contestants plus the aforementioned technicality actually placed all 4 prizes in ascending order. Because of this, the crew decided to finally retire the game in 2014. And folks, come back next time where I finally get to review my least favorite pricing game of all time. You will not want to miss this one. I am not a fan of On the Spot. A rare miss, this game simply put did not work. For reasons I will get into shortly, this game mercifully had a short life. No more time to waste, here we go with 5 fun facts about On the Spot. Number 5. The game was played perfectly 4 times. Starting with the best news of the list, even a broken clock is right twice a day, because as much as this game didn't work, at least it was won 4 times perfectly. That's 4 cars won stress-free. Can't complain about that one. Number 4. It shares its name with 2 other game shows. There was a show in Oregon named On the Spot, which aired from 1985 to 1988. This game came off as kind of a standard quiz show of the era. And then much later in 2011 to 2012, there was a syndicated show named On the Spot, which asked people very bizarre trivia questions. Number 3. It also shares its name with a failed sketch comedy show. On the Spot was a very short-lived show starring improvisational comedian Jeff Davis. It ran on the WB network for just shy of a month, lasting 5 episodes before it was canceled. Number 2. It is the most recently debuted game to be retired. As of recording this video, On the Spot is the last game I will review that was retired. Having said that, the game Pay the Rent is currently on a very necessary hiatus, and while it likely may be retired, it is still listed on the official website, and no announcement has been made as such. Thus, until that official announcement is made, the retirement of this 2003 game is still the most recent retired game to premiere. And the number 1 fun fact about On the Spot, it was retired due to its confusing rules. As I said earlier, On the Spot was a rare miss. I'm sure on paper this game seemed fairly easy, but it ended up being confusing to explain to contestants, it took a long time to play, and it wasn't even won half the time. On the Spot was a very short-lived pricing game that in the end is just going to be a blip in the show's history. This game has since stayed retired, but come back next time for a game that was retired and then resurrected. You won't want to miss it. Time is Money is a highly unique game in that it was retired 1 year after its debut. 10 years after its retirement, a new version of Time is Money would debut using a different rule set and complete set overhaul. Thank you to the hundreds of you who voted on my poll. It was clear that Time is Money should receive separate lists. For the first time in this review series, I am going to be presenting 2 separate episodes together in one video, each version of the game to get their own set of facts. Here we go with 5 fun facts about Time is Money, the 2003 and 2014 versions. Starting first with the 2003 Barker version. Number 5. Its original gameplay was similar to another game. In the original rule set of Time is Money, a player was offered a prize of $500, which can be returned for a second chance at playing. This is very similar to the second chance offered in Barker's Markers. In addition, the clock was 15 seconds as opposed to 20 seconds. This was very short-lived though. Number 4. Minor set change. In the earliest version of the game, the signs which displayed the names of the grocery items were moved below the panels. Otherwise, the game remained unchanged during its short run. Number 3. A contestant won on a technicality. In November of 2003, the clock ticked down from 20 in 15 seconds. Due to the contestant being shorted 5 seconds of gameplay, she was given a technical win. This was after the rules had changed from 15 to 20 seconds. Number 2. It used music from another game. If the Think music sounds like the cue from Clearance Sale, you are onto something. It is the same song. I'd love to play it for you, but Fremantle would strike me faster than you can say Time is Money. And the number 1 fun fact about the Bob Barker version of Time is Money, it was retired due to its need to be edited. Although I can't really see why, and I suppose that's kind of the point, Time is Money was retired less than 1 year after its debut due to needing to be edited in post-production. Although a smaller version of the game was planned by its creator Roger Dobkowitz, it never happened under his watch, and thus the game was retired in 2004. And now here we go with 5 fun facts about the Drew Carey version. Number 5. It is lost far more often today. Time is Money has an absolutely atrocious win percentage in today's version. To put it into perspective, the Barker version had more wins and was played far less than the Carey version. As of recording this video, it has been almost 2 years since it was last won. Still, Carey considers this one of his favorite games. Number 4. What counts as a win? For this game to be considered a win, the contestant must walk away with any amount of money. One time a contestant won with only $547. Although if the contestant does leave with $20,000, it is considered a perfect win. Number 3. Minor set change. Early on, there were no prices on the grocery items when the game ended. This was changed shortly after the game's debut. Number 2. The audience is considered detrimental. Just like with Race Game and Bonkers, looking at the audience for help is not helpful at all. With only seconds on the clock, it is far better to just move as quickly as you can without looking for any kind of help. And the number 1 fun fact about Time is Money, the Carey version, it debuted on September 22nd, the same day as the Barker version. In a fun little coincidence, the Carey version of Time is Money debuted on the same day as the Barker version, albeit 11 years apart. Well, that was fun taking a look at 2 games at once. Join me next time as I return to singles action with yet another 50-50 chance game. You won't want to miss it. Added in 2003, Coming or Going is yet another 50-50 chance game. Here, a contestant must send the price downhill, either coming or going. There is truly not much to say about this one, except for one particularly sad fact that I will get to quickly and get out of the way. Here we go with mostly 5 fun facts about Coming or Going. Number 5. It was the last game to premiere while Rod Roddy was alive. Certainly not a fun fact, but necessary to mention. Rod Roddy had been the show's full-time announcer since 1986 and was beloved by audiences, especially those who grew up watching the show during this generation. Roddy passed weeks after the premiere of this game. He is still fondly remembered today as the voice of The Price is Right during this era. And now on to more fun facts. Number 4. It's never been played for a car. The 4-digit limitation of coming or going means unless you're playing for a go-kart, there won't be any cars under $10,000. It is arguable that the game can technically be enhanced for 5-digit playing, but there are very few prices possible that would make the game worth playing and have any level of challenge. Number 3. Split screen. Much like with Freeze Frame, the game today uses a 3-box split screen to enhance the action on screen. From a director's standpoint, adding this kind of effect, in my opinion, does add to the visual enhancement of what is otherwise a very simple and uninteresting game. Number 2. It has slightly over a 60% win percentage. Coming or going is won fairly often, more than half the time it's played, and for a relatively decent prize as well. It may not be the most fun game on the show, but at least it has an excellent payoff rate. And the number 1 fun fact about Coming or Going, it is the last game to premiere on the turntable for 12 years. 2003's Coming or Going would be the last game to premiere in the original GameSpot until 2015's Vendo Price would debut. During that time, the turntable would receive a massive makeover, with the addition of high-definition monitors and a new color scheme to make the games look good in today's TV resolutions. Half Off is a game of process of elimination. Pick the item which is half off and lose half of the boxes. From 16 to 8 to 4 to 2, if you're lucky, one of those boxes will have $10,000 in them. Shouldn't be the toughest game if you're somewhat decent at pricing the items. This is a game that has seen fairly regular airtime since its debut in 2004. Here we go with 5 fun facts about Half Off. Number 5. It is the first pricing game to premiere since Rich Fields became a permanent announcer. In 2004, Fields would become the 3rd permanent announcer on The Price is Right following a lengthy audition process. A chief meteorologist for KPSP2, he would leave that business to take the coveted spot on The Price is Right. Although Fields was the only announcer to introduce both Bob Barker and Drew Carey, he would be released in 2010 by executive producer Mike Richards, who was, quote, exclusionary and dismissive of longtime show employees. Fields would return to meteorology and today is a motivational speaker. Number 4. The set color change. Although there was a slight color change in 2010, the game would receive a complete overhaul in 2018. This new scheme really shows up well in high definition. No complaints on my end. Number 3. It uses an element from Fortune Hunter. Fortune Hunter was a short-lived game that ran from 1997 to 2000. Half Off retains the opening of the box to reveal money element that was also used during that game. Otherwise, it is a completely different game. Number 2. Unlucky 13. For the first 6 years of the game's existence, the money was never held in Box 13. This changed in 2010 when 13 began being used as one of the money boxes. As of recording this video, though, no one has ever won this game with the money in Box 13. It really is unlucky, at least with Half Off. Before I continue, I want to acknowledge that one fact I read that seemed particularly interesting is that the Half Off set is the most expensive set ever built for The Price is Right. However, with no proof of this, I was reluctant to include it. Having said that, I still wanted to mention it because if it is true, it is quite fascinating. And the number 1 fun fact about Half Off: a contestant can completely botch the game and still win. Twice in the game's history, once in 2010 and once in 2014, was the game played where the contestant wouldn't get a single answer correct on the small items, but still guess the correct box to win the money. 1 out of 16 odds are pretty slim, but in the words of the great Han Solo, never tell me the odds. Pocket Change is easily my favorite game of the 21st century. Unique, exciting, and always fun to give away a nice car, I love Pocket Change. Start with 25 cents and then the price goes up for every digit selected wrong. Have enough money in your pouches by the end of the game and you win the car. You're honestly better off just watching clips of the game, but this is a review segment, so let's review. Here we go with 5 fun facts about Pocket Change. Number 5. It was created by Roger Dobkowitz.
Longtime Price is Right producer Roger Dobkowitz was the creator of this game. What makes this interesting is that his tenure as an employee of the show would only last 3 more years after the creation of this game. It would be interesting to see if Dobkowitz would have still been creating excellent games if he had any clue that his time was limited. My guess would be absolutely. He's kind of a legend. Number 4. The game is played for a car similar to Lucky 7. The game is similar to Lucky 7 in that a car is given away for a tiny fraction of its actual retail price. Of course, in that game, the price of a car is $1 as opposed to 25 cents. If only cars were that inexpensive in real life. Then again, I don't want to get what I pay for. Number 3. The game is played perfectly more often with Bob than Drew. Another interesting stat about this game is that Bob was only on the show for 2.5 more years as host after this game premiered. Under those 2.5 years, Pocket Change was played perfectly 3 times. In the 18 years since Drew took over in 2007, it has only been played perfectly twice. Do you think some games are tougher with Drew as host? Is it due to the speed of the show these days, or is it merely just a wild coincidence? Let me know what you think below. Number 2. Alterations for COVID. It has been almost 5 years since the insanity that is COVID happened, and to believe we lived like that for as long as we did is wild. Anyway, Pocket Change was slightly adapted as the envelopes were given numbers for the contestant to verbally select what pouch they wanted. It was a creative way to deal with an absolutely dreadful situation. And the number 1 fun fact about Pocket Change, it was once modeled by Craig Ferguson. The comedian and former host of The Late Late Show, Craig Ferguson, once modeled the car and revealed the car's new price once in 2012. It's always fun when there are crossovers with other shows that aren't The Talk, so seeing Craig on The Price is Right was a real joy. Also, rest in peace, The Talk, we hardly knew ye. The price of the prize is presented in Barker dollars or Drew dollars, and the contestant must pick 2 bags of the appropriate size to balance the scale and win it. Nothing too dramatic with this one. Here we go with 5 fun facts about Balance Game. Number 5. It shares its name with a retired pricing game. This incarnation of Balance Game is different in gameplay from the 1984 version of the game. While both versions utilize a scale and balancing the scale to win the game, getting there is very different. While some may argue that the game is a reincarnation of the original Balance Game, and others may think it's a separate game, personally, I would just rather enjoy it for what it is, a fun little game that you can play along with. Number 4. Very slight change. Early in the game's run, the digital readout only had 4 digits, but this was quickly changed to 5 digits after only a few months of gameplay. Otherwise, the game has pretty much remained undisturbed since its premiere in 2005. Number 3. The weight of the bags. A running gag among the models is over-exaggerating the weight of the bag of the Drew dollars used in the price of the prize. It's Ezekiel Barker levels of not funny. Also, I could have used this spot to talk about the contents of the bags, but without actually seeing their contents, I am not going to speculate and be wrong. Number 2. There are only 3 possibilities to win. Playing this game blindly will give the contestant a 1 in 3 chance of winning, but with a little knowledge of the price, it becomes a bit easier, which leads me to the number 1 fun fact about Balance Game. It has a 44% win percentage. That's not a terrible number considering that this game can be played for just about any size prize, including cars. Yeah, I know there wasn't a whole lot to say about this game, but that happens sometimes. Although the best days of the show have definitely passed by this point, there are still plenty of new games to come. You won't want to miss them. Stack the Deck is a game played for a car that has a deceptively low win percentage. Win the 3 grocery items and place the 3 digits in the price of the car. Guess the remaining digits and you win. Sounds simple, but it's anything but, especially if you don't get every grocery item. We have finally reached the penultimate game in Bob Barker's tenure as host. Here we go with 5 fun facts about Stack the Deck. Number 5. It was created by former director Bart Eskander. Bart Eskander, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, was the show's 3rd full-time director who took over the role from Paul Alter in 2000. Before directing The Price is Right, he was also a crewman on shows such as Concentration, Blockbusters, and the match game Hollywood Squares Hour. He would go on to serve as the show's director until the beginning of the Mike Richards era in 2009, as there was a pretty substantial changing of the guard during that time. Number 4. It featured a returning contestant. In 2015, a contestant named Martha won her way up on stage to play Stack the Deck. It wasn't her first time, though. She had previously won her way up in 1996, almost 20 years prior, and played Dice Game. Sadly, she lost both times she was on stage. Number 3. The Strategy. Given the contestant wins all the grocery items, the key strategy to playing this game is to place the 3 middle spots. This should make the first digit quite easy, and hopefully the 5th digit will be a 0 or maybe even a 5. Number 2. Lots of pricing. Stack the Deck is the only active game in the rotation where the contestant must guess the price of grocery items as well as the price of the car. Even missing one grocery item will make the game exponentially more difficult, which leads me to the number 1 fun fact about Stack the Deck. It has a 16% win percentage. Stack the Deck is hardly ever won, standing at 16%. If Stack the Deck were retired tomorrow, I don't think too many fans would be heartbroken over it. Having said that, be sure to come back next time as we discuss the most landmark game of the show so far, the final game to premiere under Bob Barker. More or Less is a simple game for 3 relatively nice prizes and a brand new car. Guess properly if the prices are more or less than the price given, and the contestant will walk away with a nice little score. But this game is much more known for where it lies on the Price is Right timeline. Here we go with 5 fun facts about More or Less. Number 5. It was the last game to premiere with Bob Barker as host. Just months after the premiere of this game, Bob Barker would officially retire as the host of The Price is Right after 35 outstanding years. It was absolutely the end of a major era in The Price is Right, with many believing that the game should have ended with him. No one could host the show quite like Bob, and this is why he is my all-time favorite game show host. Number 4. The game was created by Bob Barker. Barker likely wanted to have one more game under his belt before he rode off into the proverbial sunset. More or Less would be the final game created by Bob Barker. Number 3. Slight change in prize introductions. When Bob was host, the first 3 prizes would be introduced, and then the car would be introduced separately. Today, all 4 prizes are introduced at once. There's no discernible reason for this other than it could be yet another delightful time-saving tactic. Number 2. It's similar to Golden Road. Although much easier in the long haul, the idea of the game being a progressive game is much like that of Golden Road. Contestants are also more likely to walk away with something since they're able to take home whatever they guessed correctly, which is nice. And the number 1 fun fact about More or Less, it was won once during Bob's tenure as host. More or Less was won on February 21st, 2007, and was the only time that happened during Bob's run as host. And with that, that is a wrap on the Bob Barker era. My next review begins the Drew Carey era and the home stretch for brand new pricing games on The Price is Right.